Okay, so we are live. I'm gonna go back just to make sure everybody can see me all right. I think everything is cool. I'm just testing this out here. I'm trying a different location. All right, yeah, I see it. I see it. We're definitely on. Okay. All right, we are definitely live. Man, today was just one of those days. I've been finding out how um I'm just letting everybody know we are live. All right. So, so how's it going? All right. So every single week, I have been putting out these videos for you to influence you, and so you can have the best quality of like all the notes that I've been taking over the years. And so far, I think I have been learning a lot of things of what not to do, and that's plan things. One things I have learned is to plan ahead. You definitely want to be planning well in advance for these kind of things, like a day in advance. Start thinking about what you're going to be planning out for throughout the week, and when you get into this, some things can happen. Things just can go wrong. Things just will not go your way, and because you can be focused on getting this done, and then all of a sudden something else will just like come in your way, and all of a sudden consume all your time. So one of the things that I want to be talking about today, we will discuss, is um how to create invisible influence. Yo, what it is, jive turkey. You need to go back to English school, yo, ghetto, Katie. So she's awesome. You want to follow her and all that. But I have upstairs for a particular reason. That's because um, downstairs was occupied. I do not have access to my computer without all sorts of noise going on. So we have hopefully we have good internet connection. It's a little hazy, but that's okay. That doesn't really matter. It's not all that important. So we're going to be sharing some information, and the information is what is critical. And then after this webinar, it will self-destruct. So let's get into it. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How's it down in what, still in Florida? I know that you guys are still rocking it out in that RV, and I'm seriously jealous. I'm just like mad jealous that you guys are still in the RV. Mine is still parked down there, and I am dying to get back on the road and just start just going all over the place and just seeing where exactly can I go. Although I don't want to go by myself, so I'm kind of hesitant on it. All right, invisible influence. I'm going to be looking down at my notes so I can give you all the best quality, because my memory is not going to be like like sucking it out and spitting it back at you. I gotta actually beat it. So, invisible influence. Why we do the things that we do. If you want yummy, tasty fruit, you can't have rotten roots. And this really is an amazing thing. In the back of my house, there's a bunch of wetlands, and there are actually several little apple trees, tiny little apple trees. And it is so interesting. I actually find it really fascinating when you can go in your own backyard and you actually have decent fruit that's in there. Except these apples are actually crab apple trees. And if you ever taken a crab apple and just like taken a bite out of it, it's really tart, and it's just one of those things you don't want to eat. When I was looking for a house in upstate New York, I found like my dream house. I loved this place. It was so amazing. It had fruit on the trees there that were out of this world. It had pear trees, it had apple trees, it had mulberry trees. I love mulberries. And like if the mulberries are just right, all you can do is shake the tree and all of them fall down, and those are so amazing. And when you're going to want tasty fruit like that, you can't get it from rotten roots. So if you're gonna get like crab apples that are just like over there and they're just like tart, maybe some people like crab apples, but I'm just using it as an example in case everybody actually likes to. Uh, did it even a partridge in a pear tree? Yes, it had partridges, and I did that to them. Okay, a man who builds his house on sand is actually very foolish. All these notes I actually got from years ago from Vic Stride's house, and some people like are a little weary of him here and there, but from what I've been from all these notes, I've really come to admire what this man has said on this. A man who builds his house on sand is foolish. I couldn't say that any better because that goes back to a biblical term where if a man is going to build his house on a solid foundation, it's something that's actually going to work. If somebody's going to, because the rain's going to come, the problems are going to come, the winds are going to blow, and then all of a sudden everything is just going to go wrong, but the house is on solid ground. It's not doing anything other than standing still, and it's not moving anywhere. It's just on solid ground. And this is all tying into like invisible influence, because you're building stuff on solid ground. And if you build it on sand, you're actually building your entire organization on tiny little like arguments that you're having inside of your head. Oh, could this work? I don't think this could work. Or, um, am I good enough for this? And if you are having these like micro disagreements with what you're called to do here on this planet, you're actually going to fail altogether. So you have to have that. You have to have that solid mindset that you're actually like, I'm here. I'm called to do this. I have this gift. I have this talent, and it's going to be. This is it. This is where I'm going. If you try to do anything else with your gifts and talents, it will all fall apart. You're like, I feel like I'm doing right thing, but you're not bearing any kind of fruit. You're not bearing the right fruit for your business. So, um, my personal belief is that I believe in serving people, and that money is only temporary. Um, so that we got people in the background. So, if there's any kind of like noise in the background, then we may have to move to another room. But all right, so why do you exist as a marketer? And the reason that I do these things is to set a new standard and make a difference. When you are, you know, when you're focusing on what your purpose is and why you're here, why you're doing these things, you're going to make some kind of influence and some kind of impact on people. And that's the whole purpose of it. So when you look at it, think about like, what in the world am I going to be doing? Like, who is going to be making the biggest impact? Who am I going to make the biggest impact on? That's something you gotta like totally focus on. This is invisible influence. Like you're inducing thoughts into yourself, saying, "Well, I'm going to be making an impact. So what do I have to do?" Um, so the things you want to focus on. Um, so how do you do these things? How do you influence people? How do you invisibly influence your warm market, your target market, whatever you do? You want to focus on traffic. Yeah, that's like a small percentage of it. It's like 20%. But the biggest things is serving, sewing, gaining experience, learning from that experience. When it doesn't work, write it down and make sure that you take full thought of, okay, what didn't work, what should work, what are other people doing that's working. Okay, they're all doing the same thing and it's getting results. Okay, so that's what you got to do. You just do a little bit. And then you create positive expectancy. You should expect to get results if you're doing what other people are doing. You're saying to yourself, well, yeah, I'm just being self-destructive. I'm kind of like doing my own thing. I'm sabotaging my efforts. Of course, that's you're influencing yourself on an invisible way so that you are not going to get the same results that you want. So that's what you have to do. You have to think about, focus on this. You have to focus on, yes, traffic. But above all, you want to serve your audience. You want to sow into the fields. I'm a big believer that if you reap from the fields that you are consuming from, you should give back to that field. You should sow back into that field. You should sow into the field that you are reaping from, because that's self-serving and self-sufficient, and that's what you want to do. I will never have to I will never have to worry about a product getting sold if I stick with these principles. It's absolutely true. If you just focus on serving your target audience, your people, and giving them exactly what they want, selling it, into your marketplace. Like if you're giving to these people, you're actually giving back to yourself. You're not you're really not taking anything from them because you're solving problems for them. So what you want to really do is not worry about it. Let go of control. What that law of attraction principle? Let go of control. That's a huge thing. A lot of people think that if I just have complete control, then I will feel like my life is going in a better direction. That is a load of crap because if you're on the highway, you have zero control over 99% of everything that's going on that highway. You have zero control over any of that. So if you let go of the belief that you have to have control over, you know, everything, you don't, you're just not, you're, you're going to do a disservice to yourself, to your audience. The only thing that you have control over is your own decisions. How you drive is what you have permission to have full control over. You're not going to have, you can't tell me how to drive, and I can't tell you how to drive. And I certainly can't tell the idiots on the road how to drive because they feel they love being stupid behind the wheel. So it's like an Olympic sport to them. Like how many people can I cut off? And oh, it was so weird. Like I was on Saturday mornings are like the best days to drive because there's like nobody on the highway. Nobody on the highway. So because I work on Saturday mornings. So guess what happens? I get on the highway. I start going. Sure enough, some guy pulls off an exit. It's like 1 inch in front of my vehicle. And I'm like, it's Saturday. Why are you cutting in front of me? There's nobody on the roads. Yeah, this is so anyway, I had no control over that person's driving, and it was just like one of those things that I said, I really have no control over anything but what I'm doing. And um, all right, so be genuine about why you are marketing. People can smell a phony a mile away. People can absolutely smell a phony just a total mile away. So if you are like, being fake and all that, then you definitely want to stop doing that. So actually, I think people are coming upstairs so that they can go to bed. I think we're gonna go back downstairs, and I'm gonna check that out. Yeah, I think they are. We're gonna move downstairs. Oh my god, is that a gun? Oh my god. It is a gun. And this is my show. So we're doing that. Oh my god, I don't know what's going on. The house is so dark. Oh my god, I almost tripped over my own stuff. Down the stairs. I told you this was gonna be a funny one. I really did. I almost tripped down the stairs. That was ridiculous. All right. Back to invisible influence. Typical. Clean up that stuff then, yo. All right. All right, so Yeah, you know what it is? It was like there's just it was a like a golf thing in the middle of the highway, in the middle of the hallway, and that was just I wasn't paying attention. I was just trying to be funny. All right, so let's get back to invisible influence. Okay, so let's go back to. All right, so let's talk about another thing. Let's talk about another layer of influence, and let's get into strategic influence. Now that's the room where we all feel familiar with. Now that's the room we are all familiar with, or maybe you meant to say familiar with. Not quite sure what you mean there, pops. But um, well, that's the room we're all. I don't know. So anyway, strategic influence. Let's take it to another layer. Um, this is the next layer on top of invisible influence, and that's the strategic influence. And this is where the conversions are a byproduct of strategy. Stay focused on strategy. Stay focused on that. It's amazing how we can hear people say it all the time that, okay, we got to stay completely focused. Um, we have to stay completely focused. He's distracting me with that thing right there. Okay, so we have to stay completely focused on one particular strategy. And it can actually get it's really easy to get distracted. Your focus is on like, wow, the latest pentagram strategy. I gotta go try that one out. But no, like if you got something that's bringing leads in, just keep going at it. If you want to try a paid ad strategy, just try something small, but stay consistent with it. Stay focused on it. And I know that like lately I've been trying to get like these $5 a day advertisement, and I've been getting my ads out there just $5 a day on Facebook and seeing if I can get somebody to respond to it. And after a couple of days, you can figure it out. Okay, that's not working, and you just change it up a little bit, change the photo, and you just see, well, that didn't really work out. Let's just keep trying something different. But I'm doing it at $5 a day. I'm not doing something extreme. I'm doing like $50, my first shot, or $20 at my first shot. It's simple. Just keep it at $5. And YouTube is also a really big strategy because that's where I've been getting my leads coming in from. You can get leads elsewhere. I mean, solo ads, you can just if you consistently have traffic going to solo ads, you will undoubtedly get leads from that. And it's really, you basically have to just stay one thing at a time. Conversions will happen more naturally and more rapidly when you just stay focused on one particular strategy. After having so many YouTube videos out there, just going to have people who want to do business with you. All right, so this stuff is actually really cool. I saw this, and I thought that this was actually really, really cool. There are 5 conversion breakthroughs. 5 conversion breakthroughs. And the first one is power. The number one form of self-sabotage is doing things incrementally better. I want to say that again. The number one form of self-sabotage is doing things incrementally better. If you are a marketer and you try to do things just a little bit better than the competition, this is the number one form of self-sabotage. Now, I'm going to explain what I was saying before. We were saying, hey, you just try something and it doesn't work, you do something a little bit different. You don't want to be doing the same thing that other marketers are doing. You want to be doing something that is different, revolving it around your personality, revolving it around you. And you can, you want to stand out and you want to be different. What you do is to step out and go for the big breakthrough. You don't want to be like the mediocre guy. You want to be the guy who's just, well, I think I can do it. I think I'll just do what everybody else is doing in the realm of taking like a landing page, going into the same traffic source, and just getting the same group of people who are seeing the same ad, same landing page, a bunch of times. You can get leads that way. Like you just want to stand out in a way that makes you say, "Hey, this is me," and those guys. And the last thing you want to appear is if you are just another affiliate marketer. And so you want to think about this. The problem with most people is that this is exactly how they appear to everybody else. So when people go on like these Facebook groups and they see all these like posts, they all look the same. They all look like make money opportunities. No one looks genuine. No one looks like a who wants to build relationships. And that's actually a great place to just completely stand out. It's actually a fantastic place where you're going to uh, just totally stand out. Okay, so you did say familiar. That's the room we're all familiar with. Yeah. Yeah, that was a. I don't know if it's this room or if it's the room upstairs, because that was the old room where I used to stay up in. All right, so okay, you cannot act like a salesperson. You can't speak like a salesperson. You can't look like a salesperson because nobody wants to be around those people. That is so true. Selling is all about power. And if you look like a salesman, you look like you're desperate for money. You look like you're desperate for money. You don't want to look like that. You want to look like you have all the power. And when you are pursuing for selling to be easy, and for bright now, I put a bunch of stars around this one because I thought this was really, really cool. For selling to be easy and price to be irrelevant, that's an interesting point. For selling to be easy and the price to be irrelevant, the salesman must be perceived by the buyer as having all the power. And that's an amazing thing. So if you walk into a room and if you have this presence that changes the atmosphere, and everybody perceives that you are like the most interesting person in that room, and you're highly successful. You're gaining attraction. Everybody wants to be around you. Everybody wants to do business with you. If you are putting out that that aura, you will be perceived as having all the power. So when you have that, that is how selling just gets easier. It was amazing that I was listening to Copywriting Mastery today, which is one of the which is which is the course that's on. I think it's that way. Somewhere on this page, you can clearly see it. It just says Copywriting Mastery Training Information. I was listening to that by Brian Finale, and he started talking about the 12 human needs. And then he began to say, some of the sources where I got this from was from Joe Vitality and Tony Robbins. And instantly I had this desire, this urge to almost go and buy stuff that those people sold, that those people make. And I caught myself doing that, and I was like, they didn't even pitch me anything. They didn't do anything. They didn't pitch me. They didn't put out a landing page, and they did nothing. And yet I perceived that those people have all the power, and it's because of people that I look up to and I admire. Said, I look up to these people, and I bought all these people's products. So if you're perceived as having all the power, all objections to buying just like goes away. It just disappears, gone. And you want to strategically and ethically take all the power away from the buyer and put it into your hands so the buyer perceives that you have all the power. And that's where you want to go. You want to strategically and ethically be perceived as you want to take all the power away from the buyer so that you have all the power and that they have no other choice but to surrender and buy the product. You want to make people feel some sort of pain for walking away. Like if they walk away from this, they're going to feel like, I shouldn't walk away from this deal, or I shouldn't walk away from this business opportunity, because it's going to make people feel like, oh my goodness, I have to join this guy. I have to join these people. If I don't, then I'm going to miss out on something. And especially if there's scarcity involved. If people are putting out there, um, you know, like, hey, this offer is going to go away really quickly. We're not going to take this. We're not going to put this up there for very long. People will think, well, this guy has a lot of power. He's saying it's going to go away. It increases buying. It definitely works. All right, so there is a power pyramid, and we're going to talk about that right now. So picture yourself like you're looking at a pyramid. I do not have a screen share. I don't have anything drawn out, so we're just going to visually do that. And I appreciate your patience on this. So picture like a huge pyramid, and no, I'm not talking about a pyramid scheme. I'm talking about the shape of a pyramid. If you could put yourself in that position to imagine the shape of the pyramid, and at the bottom of it, the sections of it, and going all the way up. So at the bottom, there is a generalist. That is somebody who will make like $100 a month. This person is the kind of guy who comes in, they try it for a little bit, and they're not really putting a whole lot of effort into it. They're not perceived as having very much power in this industry. So then, the specialist comes in and he's got $10,000 a month. That dude's got a lot of power. He says something, people just pay attention. You start gaining more authority, yes, with how much money you actually make. So then the next level up is an even higher. It's called the authority. That person's making $10,000 a month or like $100,000 a month. That person has tremendous authority. Tremendous authority. Talking about strategic influence is that when you are able to have that kind of money, you will be able to like tremendously influence people to join. I mean, like, how many people have watched these webinars where people are making, $100,000 in a single day? I remember hearing Mark Harbert say that he was able to have his own webinar, and he sold his own products, and he probably had like $500 pop, and he made $100,000 in a single day. This is going to be from a guy who was like had $7 in his bank account. This is like the most amazing thing, most ridiculous thing you would ever see. I keep grabbing my mouse thinking that it's going to control the screen on my laptop, but it's not. But I'm just keep scrolling down and checking out, what people are saying. So, oh my goodness. Then you have celebrity, and the celebrity status is like $100,000 a month in up. The dude is like celebrity status. They can make $100,000 a month, and there's another one after that it is celebrity authority specialist, which makes $500,000 per month, and above. These are people who have been in the industry. They have a skill set. They have invested tremendously in their own skill sets. If you look at people like Tai Lopez and Grant Cardone, those people are making well over $500,000 a month, and it's because they read a lot of books. I know Tai Lopez, he's got tremendous, huge library. And he always follow like 3 principles of like, learning a skill, implementing it, and then teaching other people. And when you start really learning what these influential people are doing, what's their invisible influence, what's their strategic influence, they're just adding so much knowledge to one particular skill. And that's like the language of copywriting. It's the language of communicating with prospects. Copywriting mastery. Just go get it. Get into this right now. You know. All right, so let's dive in a little bit more. Okay, so as an affiliate marketer, you never ever want to be a generalist. The higher you are in this pyramid, the easier it will be for you to sell stuff. So, what is an authority? It is when you are not being questioned. When I was taking all these notes, I'm like, man, everything this guy is saying is like right on point. That is just so interesting. It's when what is an authority? It's when you are an expert. It's when you are powerful. You can say yes, and you can say no, and people do not question you. And you are authoritative. It's not what you say; it's how you say it. You want to show up like nobody else. You want that shock and awe, like we were talking about earlier. When somebody walks into a room and they are dressed a particular way, and they have this walk, they're standing a particular way. They're looking around the room. I've been actually watching this. Um, it's really interesting. There's a channel on YouTube. It's called Far From Average, and it's typically for men who are looking for tips on how to date women and how to gain more confidence to be more of the alpha male when you walk into a room. Very, very interesting points that the guy actually puts out, and a lot of it is actually what is being taught right here. It's like when you are an authority, it is when you are not being questioned. If you walk into a room and you actually look around the room, you look around the room as if like you're looking at every single person who comes in, and every single person that you like are like in communication with, you will be perceived as somebody who actually has authority. It is an amazing thing. If you are dressed a particular way, people will stereotype. They will look at you and think like, okay, so the MLSP event that's coming up in August, if I go to this black tie gala event and I come in with this gray shirt, my hat, my hair sticking out right here, they're gonna look at me like, why are you dressed like that? But if I were to come in clean shaved, my hair looks good, I got a really nice black suit, and I got a really nice shirt. My my pants are pressed, everything looks clean, and I walk into that room. I'm smelling good, I'm looking good, and then people are just, yeah, you definitely you will definitely make an impact. Like when you walk into the room, people will just take notice of you, and they will perceive you as having this realm of authority. Like you just stepped in, here's me, pay attention. And it really is all about perception. People will judge you based on your appearance. They will judge you in your business based on whether or not when they first meet you, yeah, they're gonna judge you based on like how your appearance is a little bit strong, too strong. But if you have enough rapport, if you can build up enough, um, get people to respond to you, then then you can probably be a little bit more relaxed and be a little bit more of yourself. But look for big events or making an impact on people's world, you definitely want to be perceived as having all the authority. So, all right, number two thing is emotion. Selling is the transfer of feelings. When I heard that, and this like I heard all these things like for the first time, and it was really an amazing thing. Selling is the transfer of feelings. People are actually buying the feelings. They're buying the emotions. People are actually buying the feelings. And people are buying in response to your feelings. So if your heart is buying it, people are gonna pick that out. So if people they perceived that your influence is your emotions are like really into all this, people are gonna buy from you. But if you're like all uptight and if you're, you know, if you're not being yourself, if you're not being emotional into all this, and if you're just trying to make the sale, and if you're just being super monotone the whole time, people are probably going to leave. They're not going to ever want to do business with you. If you are not convinced 1000% that that product is going to change people's lives, you shouldn't promote it because people will sense it. People will believe that, hey, this guy doesn't believe in that product. I mean, I talk about, copywriting mastery all the time because of like it's just a powerful thing. 12 undeniable human needs. Go go ahead and prove those wrong, validating people's needs, concerns, feelings, easing their pain. If you can do those things, people will absolutely do anything for you. Provide a scapegoat. No, it's not your fault. I remember hearing these conversations. I remember hearing these conversations with people in Facebook how they were doing everything that the company was telling them to do. They were taking the company link, going into Facebook groups, and then posting it onto as many groups as they could possibly do. And I found it kind of funny because when you go into those groups and you start posting into, like 100 groups a day. I remember this guy was telling me how, oh yeah, I was posting in 100 groups a day, and I wasn't getting any response. I was like, that's because Facebook is allowing you to believe that you're posting in 100 groups, but they're not actually showing it to other people. And I found that out because my mentor, I asked him, he's like, hey, I don't see your posts in the groups. And I was like, I just put it there. He says, I don't see it. And so we were, kind of figured out that Facebook was one actually blocking everybody else from seeing it, but making me believe that it was actually there. So you don't want to be wasting time with those kind of strategies. I don't know where I was going with that, but people buy by bonding with the seller, and it's a shared exchange of feelings. This stuff is so cool. Like, I think that I have never heard of this in all of my life. I've never heard of the thought of like people buy feelings. People are actually exchanging feelings and emotions. Picture people who absolutely love the Star Wars trilogy, and you got a guy who is at some Comic-Con event and he's selling Star Wars like propaganda. That dude is not there to make money. He's there to continuously like encourage people to be a part of like the Star Wars mindset, to increase their knowledge of like the latest book, or to discover something new about Star Wars, or if you want to see, if you've seen Star Wars, I've got something for you. You probably don't know this, but there's actually things in Star Wars that you would never have seen before. You've seen it 100 times, right? Did you know that there's a point where you can look this up on YouTube? It's actually really cool. Like maybe the Star Wars things you didn't see in Star Wars, whatever the video is called, and how when in A New Hope that there's like a point where they try to C-3PO and R2-D2 are like locked in this one room, and then Luke Skywalker and Han Solo are looking for Princess Leia, but C-3PO and R2-D2 are like in this one room, and like the door comes up, and then the stormtroopers come in. One of them actually smashes his head as he's coming in. They're like, oh my God, does he really do that? Yes, he does. When you go back and watch the film, you're going to be like, he really does do that. So like, people, when they're promoting this kind of stuff, they're actually promoting like the value of like the feelings and the just the that connection. People buy because they're bonding with the seller. They're bonding with the seller. They are bonding with like the shared feelings. They got this extended feelings And that's what, like, it's like, hey, come get these feelings that I have. And it's actually it's actually really cool. So the third reason is money. Fewer than 10% of the people in any population use price as one of the top three determining factors in buying decisions. 90% of 90% of salespeople sell as if 90% of their prospects buy based on price. How will you think it will sell affects how you will sell the product. The importance of filtering and reframing. You don't get what you want, you actually get who you are. If you are not willing to invest in yourself, others will not invest in themselves. So if people are constantly seeing that you're buying products, you're buying trading, then they're going to say to themselves, well, I need to get on the ball and I need to start buying my own trading as well. There's a guy that I've been working with. I've been bringing him to church lately. And so he's like, what have you been doing lately? Like, oh, I've been working on my internet business and I got a little webinar that I've been doing once a week. And it's like, oh, cool. And he asked me about it and we started talking a little bit more about it. He says, well, I'm going to start working pretty soon. And as soon as I get my first paycheck, I want to join up. I want to sign up with you. And I'm telling him, I was like, look, Mike, that's cool and all, but this is real stuff. And I don't take this lightly. So if I spend time with you, are you really going to do it? He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, I will do it. So he sees me investing and he sees me talking about it. He sees all the money I've been putting into learning a skill, investing in all this. And then he says to himself, well, if he's doing it, maybe I should do it. That invisible influence. People will do what other people do. And if they see you investing in a skill, then they're going to be saying to themselves, well, I should be investing in a skill. Skills are really vital. I mean, I'm glad I went and I invested in a skill for my electrical maintenance degree. I invested in a skill. I dropped $14,000 into school when I came out, and I was making way more than that. And that's really worth it when you invest in a skill. All right, a system, number 4. A system, you have to have a system for selling. If you do not have a system for selling, you are at the mercy of the prospect's system for not buying. I want to say that again. If you do not have a system for selling, you are at the mercy of the prospect's system for not buying. Dan Kennedy was saying, instead of copywriting mastery, there's like a 45-minute to an hour long video. I can't remember how audio. I can't remember how long it was, but it was right around 45 minutes to an hour. Dan Kennedy was telling Ryan Finelli about how every millisecond of the conversation that your prospect is having with you, he's trying to convince himself to not buy. They are trying to figure out, is there a better way than this? Is there any way that I can get out of this sale? I see that you're saying my spelling sucks tonight. Don't feel bad. I fat finger my phone all the time. I'd be typing stuff in. I'll be like, whatever. I hit send, and I don't feel like going and pressing really hard and just try to get rid of it. And just like, how do I fix it? I don't care. They know what I'm saying. They know what I'm saying. I hit send. So see, I can't even speak. You can't type, and I can't speak. So we got a good system right here. All right, so having a system for selling stuff is going to get you predictable results over and over and over again. So what's a good system? Let's see. We'll see what's not a good system. Sending traffic directly to an offer. This will very rarely get results, although people do it. People have this belief that if I just send traffic to this offer, then I'm gonna get them to buy. But remember, selling is a transfer of feelings. So if we shock people, if we shock traffic saying, buy this now, it's just not going to happen. Unless the person is as just equally as desperate as you, then yeah, they probably will buy. But it's very rare. So you want to build on emotional commitment to buy before ever presenting a proposition. You want to have a hook, you want to have a lead magnet, and you want to have a call to action. You want your landing page to have this hook that just says, sliding from company to company is not going to work. Here is a well proven system that is going to get you results if you commit to it today. Something like that. It just like hooks people in, and gets them into it. You want to have that hook. You want to have that hook. So then the lead magnet, what are they gonna get? And I did the whole mouse thing again. Like I'm trying to like move my mouse over and all that. So I'm gonna move my thing over here. You want to have that lead magnet. What are they gonna get? What are they going to get out of all this? What are they gonna get? Give them what they want. Figure out who your target audience is. Give them exactly what they're looking for. You know it, give it. You want to motivate people in that lead magnet. You want to motivate people, inspire them, educate them, and create a positive expectancy. People come into this thing, it's going to be totally boring. Wow. There's no emotional connection right there. They're probably feeling, if people feel like it's boring, because, you're probably being boring or somebody else is being really boring. If we go into a boring presentation and we're just going to be like, this is boring. I don't want to be here. I'm out of here. Bye bye. That's why I'm trying to like be myself on all these things because this is it my show. So this is how we do it. All right. So conditioning number 5. You want to turn your marketing into an event. Boom. Apple, they're notorious for doing this. Whenever they are promoting the next big product, it's a huge, huge event. I love it when people build curiosity, when they just have something really big coming. Something really big is coming. And like they show you like a corner of like the product or something, and you're like, what is that? Or they try to show you a picture of it, like, what is this thing? And they build expectation, they build this like this expectancy, like this is going to be so huge. And like when the iPhone first came out, that was huge. That was tremendous. That was incredible. So you want to build up excitement about the next product, and then you want to release it. You want to practice and get comfortable saying, "This is really good." This is what I hope. I hope most of you already are practicing this, but if not, you should definitely take notes on this. Practice and get comfortable saying no prospects. You will condition them to do what you tell them to do. You will have a higher email open rate, etc. And you will be perceived as having all the power. By you saying no, you're going to have this response from people like, he just said no to me. That's because you are saying no for a reason. You cannot be like everybody's buddy. You can't be everybody's friend. I tell people no. I tell people no, and I consider myself to be an authority. And when they don't know what they're doing, so if they don't know, and I tell them no, then it's a good thing to do. All right, for example, at my job, there's a lot of a lot of electricity, a lot of power inside of these electrical cabinets. Dangerous, hazardous stuff. I've seen stuff blown up. I've seen stuff catch on fire, and yet mechanics will actually go in there thinking that they are electricians, and they can hit a reset button on a little contact, and it will be okay. Yes, that's what I do. but I actually have clothing that shields me and protects me. They don't. So when they go in there and they tell me that they went and they reset it, I said, "You're not going to do that anymore while the electrician is on site. You're not going to do that anymore." "Well, my boss told me I can go do that." You're not going to listen to your boss. You're going to listen to me. And that person, that their boss, is actually my boss as well, but he's a mechanic. He's not an electrician, and all the other guys are mechanics. And I tell them, look, as long as the electrician is on site, you're not going to go into those cabinets. I'm perceived as having all the authority in this matter. And I said, as long as the electrician's on site, no question, you're not going in there. So when you get comfortable saying no to people, you will be perceived as having all the power, and then people will proceed to curse and swear at you for all that, and that's okay because you're trying to keep them alive. And no matter what you say, no matter what you do, they still won't care. They're like, "Oh, I don't care," but too bad. So you are building yourself as an authority when you get to say no. That's actually that's very very true. An authority will not change their mind. So once this happened, it's interesting. Once this happened, I went into um, I went to my boss. I said, "Hey, as long as the electrician is on site, nobody goes inside those electrical cabinets. Are we cool with that?" And he says, "Yeah, that's cool. All right, yeah, that's fine." But before that, we're just not doing anything. They were doing things their own way, and then I said no, and then now everybody freaks out. Now people actually don't do that. Now people, they do not go in there, and they call me for every little thing, but I'm okay with that. Okay, you do not want to sell. You do not sell. This is actually, again, like, this stuff is really cool. You do not sell. You allow prospects to become your customers. It's an interesting thing on how, like, when you go to like a college and you go for like an interview, and then they they qualify the students to qualify, like, to see if that person is worthy of coming to the school, and then you get a letter in the mail saying you were accepted. It's the same thing. You don't want everybody to be going into your marketing course because they're not going to take it seriously. You want to qualify, you want to push people away, you want to make it look like this is going to be hard. The stuff that you're going to be learning could be hazardous. You don't want to get into all this, but if the right people, the right message is going to the right market, people are going to say, it's okay, I'll get into this anyway, I want it anyway. You do not chase people, or you especially do not change your mind. You will not have the mental stress or the anxiety. And it'll be so awesome when people naturally buy from you. Yes, you qualify them by asking them questions to see if they fit. That's absolutely true, Pops. And it really comes down to that, qualifying people. You filter out the negative people. You filter out people who want to try this. You don't want those. You want people to just get an idea, and maybe they can just go about their own way without you being there. That's fine. But like, waste your time, not going to happen. You got to qualify people. You got to get in there. You got to start asking questions. Got to ask them, why do you want to do this? And people will respond to that. People will absolutely respond to that. People who can relate to you will become your best customers ever. Again, really, really gold, beautiful stuff right here. Is just people who can relate to you will become your best customers ever. I remember watching TV. Actually, no, it was on YouTube. I don't watch TV anymore. It's just junk. So I go onto YouTube and I was watching like an episode of like the Mythbusters or something, and then there was uh, Adam Savage, one of the main hosts. You probably know who he is. He's the guy with the crazy blonde hair. glasses and the mustache and beard. He's got like the laugh. Everybody loves his laugh. He's like the young kid. I mean, he looks like he acts like a young kid. Everybody knows Adam Savage, and 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 he actually started his own YouTube show. And when he did that, he ended up picking up like a partner to do the show with him. The guy looks exactly like him. He talks like him. His mannerisms, his body language, his tone. It's like a copy and paste, except a little bit younger. I think he looked a little bit younger, but the guy was like the spitting image of him because the two of them can totally relate to each other, and they are like business partners. So if you have people who are just they think exactly like you will most certainly have an incredible audience of people, and that's the goal. You want to have this audience of people who can just totally relate to you. I mean, how many people get on these webinars and then they respond, yes, 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 this is awesome, this is good stuff. They can totally relate to the people who are hosting them because they can relate to them, and they're going to be the best buyers because they're like, yeah, if I buy this product, then I'm definitely going to be well on my way. You want to lead by example? We're going to be wrapping it up here soon. You want to lead by example. It's amazing how your prospects will do exactly what you do. They will respond to things almost identically to how you respond and how you feel. So when you do certain things, people just mirror and match what you do. Children are just notorious for this. Every parent knows that. And I'm starting to see my niece copy my sister a lot. Like she just says little funny things, and she was talking about like, oh yeah, and all these little pesky squirrels that just like going through our garbage, and something that like my sister would say. But they she and funny is because my sister has so much authority as a parent, the child does not perceive her as anything else but the authority. And no matter what my sister does, uh, you know, what it doesn't matter what it is, the child will copy and mirror and match. Or because all the authority is doing this, so I should do this. So that's we also have to be very careful as to like what we do, so that we influence people in the way that it's going to be for their best benefit. And if you want people to respect you, you have got to respect yourself. I had zero respect for myself back in the day. I could not understand what that meant. I actually was going through it took a lot of personal development to actually get to the point where I understood what that meant. You have to respect yourself, and you have to have a healthy form of self-love, so that some people actually get freaked out by that. Like, oh, you love yourself, you conceited devil worshiping, oh, whatever. I've had a lot of things said to me, so I try not to recall them all at once because it just gets really aggravating. But if you have if you're healthy, you're feeding yourself with convenient food that is going to be beneficial for you. If you're going to the gym, you're taking care of your body, you know, that's a form of self-love, self-preservation. And if people see that in you, they will respond. So you want to have some form of self-respect, and then other people will respect you. And let's see what else we got here. Okay, so I think that is going to be it for this one. So let's recap. We had the invisible influence. Invisible influence. You want to be able to serve people, sow into the fields that you are reaping from. learn from experiences and create positive expectancy. You want to have strategic influence. That's like, um, you know, being perceived as having all the power when you have this perception that you are in control of this hangout. You are in control of like the team, and we will have a strategic influence to keeping people in line and having them go and buy the products, the training. Um, it's definitely selling is all about power, and we talked about the 5 influences right here. So strategic influences being an authority, controlling people's emotions. It is the transfer of feelings when people go to promote a product that they actually have. They look at price as like, well, I got to be careful about price. But how many times do people put like $1,000 towards a product that um, they they went and bought? Price is irrelevant if you are perceived as having all the power, and you want to have tremendous influence on other people's lives. You want a system that's actually going to work. You want to have a strategic influence that's going to get people to see, like, okay, if this happens, if I buy this product and if I get in touch with these people, then I'm going to have this influence in my world. And then conditioning and turning, you got to get comfortable with saying no. People, you have to get comfortable with telling them saying no, because if you say no, authorities actually say no. If people say yes to everything, they're not an authority. If parents say yes to their children for everything, you know, the child's in control. If you say yes to everything to your prospects, then the prospect is in control. No, you just simply say no. We get our power from what we know. Know your products, and then what they will do for people. You cannot fail if you explain that to your prospects. Yeah, absolutely. Power is definitely all about knowledge. There's a verse in Proverbs in the Bible where it talks about how the soul that be without knowledge, it is not good. It is not good. And that was actually one of the reasons why I went back to school in the beginning, is that I saw that. I was actually thinking about it. I was thinking about going back to school, and I was debating it. And I read that verse, and it actually had some influence into why I went back to school to be an electrician. Is that the soul that is without knowledge is not good. So if you don't have skills, if you do not have a particular skill that you are trying to learn, then just start right here. Start with this system where it says get started now. Go ahead, click on that button, and you'll be working with me personally. There's a training platform, there's a training program right over here somewhere on this page. It says Copywriting Mastery. Want to go ahead and you also want to buy that program. Very powerful and very, very fundamental to selling. Learn how to sell. So if you want to learn a skill, you want to get enough knowledge so that you can develop good selling techniques, good selling skills, good communication skills. I've actually been able to implement it just in general life. It's just in general conversation. Here's a really fun trick. I want to wrap this up with this. I actually learned this from, and there is an awesome community attached to that offer. Right here is a perfect example. Pops is a great guy. Dude said, I ain't dealing with Social Security. Screw that. I'm going with the companies that have the awesome community and the great knowledge and all that. And he invests in himself, him and his daughter, inspiring people. But here's a fun event. Here's something fun I want to add to this at the end. Let's talk about communication. Invisible influence. This is actually really fun to learn. Talks about how men communicate and how women communicate, and how the two they clash all the time. But if you learn a few tricks, then you can, then it'll actually work, and you can get the people to actually talk to each other. Men speak directly to the point. Men do not beat around the bush. They feel like the problem is like point A to point B. They're gonna say, okay, like here's a problem, here's a solution to the problem, go do it. Women do not do that all the time. Women actually indirectly talk about the solution to the problem so that the conversation can keep on going. Because women, when they talk, they actually get this natural high of like a dopamine. They when they keep talking, they naturally like it. Like, and all women are different. But if you have a particular group of women, the majority of them, they love to just talk, and they just keep talking. But men do not do that. You know, they love to just like get right to the point, get right to the point, get right to the point, and that's actually where they get their high from. They get that natural like, uh, high. Okay, I am a woman and I don't even understand what I'm saying most of the time. That's because you're just like you're going off that high. It's like I like to talk, so I'm just gonna talk about the next thing. And I'm like, why is that square? Or like, why is there a crack right there? And like, why are there three windows right here? How come that shade's a little bit done? Why is this and all that? But I think that's really, and that's like the fifth or sixth time that I've grabbed the mouse and it doesn't even control my laptop. It controls my computer. So I have my laptop in front of my computer. So, but that's actually a really interesting point. So if you want to, Chris, if you're talking with a woman and you want the conversation to keep going, you want to indirectly answer that woman's question. And if she says, if they will say, "So, Chris, what did you think of the event?" And you say it was good. Conversation is like you just went right to the point. It was good. I liked it. But if you say like, um, this event was like, this event was really good. It touched on all these great points, and I really like this particular point and this point, and you're setting it up for like to for the conversation to just keep going in all these different directions. So uh, if you just and then if you say to yourself like, what did you think about it? How did it make you feel? Women actually communicate through their feelings. This is another one. The channel on YouTube is called Far From Average, and it's really really cool stuff, really interesting. It talks about how women just communicate through their feelings. So if you can indirectly answer a question to a woman and get the conversation to just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. The guy who's like average looking and he has great conversation skills is gonna get is gonna get a date with that girl or be liked by that girl more than the dude who's good looking and he can't have a conversation to get a date. He's like, it's because he just doesn't know how to keep the conversation going. And so when you indirectly answer questions, women love that. When you answer them according to their feelings, how does that make you feel? Then you know they will like, I like this conversation. So, and of course, all women are different. Just think how that makes me feel in the land of confusion. I know I enjoy it when I get to the point. But there was another thing too. I heard a pastor say this, like women are like an airplane. They like to soar around like the landing platform. Guys just like to go and just like land the plane. Women don't do that. They actually like to soar around and around, and they like to just like go around the subject. They go around and around and around, and then they feel like, okay, now I'll just like I'll go in here and land here. But men are like,
Like, okay, where's the runway? There it is. And then it's just like that. But that's actually I don't know where that was coming from, but I think I was just trying to get like, I have no idea where that came from. This is my show and this is what I do. I keep the conversation going. I keep it entertaining. Cool. All right. So thank you for coming on the show. We started a little bit late and we went a little too long. And I just really want to say that I appreciate you. So thank you to my two viewers, Katie and Pops, for jumping on this. And we will end this broadcast right